Welcome to the Trading Lounge and the US indices report, and we'll look at the S&P and the Nasdaq. And look, our main problem is that we're coming into a junction now where there can be a change in trend. Okay, so this is what we need to talk about. The move from this current low here to the current high here is basically at the the 61.8% retracement level here. And if it's going to fail, this is where it's going to fail from. There can certainly be another little high here, and we'll talk about that. But it's always been this particular number as a retest here where we would see this particular level, 2000, become support or resistance. And that's always a process for a market to climb from one side of the fence to the other to support. The other point too is that, as I've mentioned before, is that this whole top area here has never really been resolved. But as you know too in Elliott, if we've got, say, 5 waves down like this one here, if we're looking for another wave 4, we'd expect it to pull back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here and then move down for the next segment. This market's moved up past the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here. So that's very helpful in terms that we've got a bullish market in play. It doesn't resolve us totally just yet because of the 61.8% retracement level here. We could get something weird like this A, B, C, D, and E here, and then a move up from that point there. Normally we would see, this wave D up here being in 3 waves, and currently we can also label that as 1 and 2 and 3, or an A and a B and a C. They're both the same structure, and in this last leg here, we would also be looking for 5 waves in this leg, and that's where we are now. We've got one more little high to go here. So in both cases, we're going to get a bit of a sell-off here. The other point too that can give it a bit of a bullish kick is that the move up through here, moving through wave 1 here. Now, on the cash market, it's moved through the wave 1 here, which is good. But because this was never resolved up here, not clearly anyway, different markets show different things, and it's possible to have this wave 1 sitting over here with this wave 2 sitting here, as I mentioned before. Then that would make that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and that seems quite sort of normal and stuff. But if this move up through here overlaps this wave 1, then we know that it's invalidated, and then we'll be moving, we can eliminate that wave 1. Now, we can't just do that yet. On the cash market here, if I can just bring this chart across here, daily chart S&P, the move up here, it moves through this low here, but it doesn't move through this first low here just yet. So if it did that, then we know that we can forget about this particular situation here, whichever way you particularly want to count it. So that move up through the 2020 there, roughly 2019, 2020, nice to get a nice clear move through it, then that would invalidate that. But it still doesn't move us out of the possibility of having this D wave here up in 3 waves here, and then coming back into here in 3 waves, and then moving up through here. So it's just something that we need to navigate. But I think in this instance, this move up through here, we need to finish counting that, and we'll do that now. But as I said, if there's a turning point, we're going to get a correction in this space here anyway, and we just need to allow it to happen so we can grab hold of it really and start to work with it. And it's not ready just yet. I'll just go into a 2-hour chart so I'm a bit more labeled. So first of all, the wave 1 here can be wave A, the wave 2 here can be wave B, of course, and then wave C up through here. So what we're looking at the moment is we're looking at from this little area here, wave 1 and wave 2. wave 3, wave 4, and we're looking for wave 5. Now that should take us up past the 220, that other point that I'd mentioned before, so that's not a problem, but it still does leave us with that triangle pattern, you know, that as this is an A and a B and a C wave here for wave D. In this little leg through here, if we just drill into that, into the 15-minute chart, I mean, we've really just been trading what we see, you know, and that's been fine. And but that's kind of going to come to an end. There's going to be a flat spot coming in, you know. So basically, I think last time we spoke, we were looking at this here. This here does appear 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think we're on the right track. We need to push up behind this. If we move up past this high here, then we're on the right track. Would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, something of that nature there. This could also give us here as maybe an A and a B and a C wave here, and then up from that point there. So in terms of trading, you know, as you can see, it's above the level at the moment. So it should have some sort of you know, kick back below the level, and then once it does that, if it gets support there, then you can trade long from that point. Yeah, allowing it to come back down below the level, and then sitting up there and trading it long there. The other thing too, to be nice and safe, is that if it doesn't come back below the level and makes another high above this high here, then you need to run with that as such. So yeah, that's the way to navigate that and keep that quite safe. Let's have a look at the NASDAQ. The Dow's much the same, so just look at the tech stocks here. Look, it's the same picture. You know, the thing about this one here is that, you know, this is not, to me, really displaying like wave 3 quality, say wave 2 here in blue. We're looking for wave 3 moving up. Yes, it's building, it's quite sort of big and everything, it's sort of doing the right thing, but it's not really showing strong moves, you know. We knew that the NASDAQ itself would be a little bit of a drag on the upside, especially when we look at, let's just look at a couple of, here we've been looking at Alphabet, Google's. So we've been counting this to the upside here, and looking for a turn at, you know, a sell off at 800, and we've got that now. And it's quite possible for this to, you know, because this move up here, as I mentioned before, it hasn't broken any rules as such in terms of an uptrend, but as soon as it takes out one of the previous lows, then that would be the case, and would see this down at 650 at that point. So there is possible weakness here. There's also weakness in Facebook as well, and we talked about this as well last time. We were looking at this trend up here, which is, I haven't bothered counting because it's a bit it's not very clear anyway, but we knew that it was at the 61.8% there at 110. We expected it to be sold off. It is being sold off. The move down here so far, we just need to work out if it's going to be impulsive or not. But, you know, these markets are in sort of bearish patterns to a point, so they haven't proven otherwise yet. A move above the 110 would satisfy that. Apple is one that's looking quite sort of chirpy, but I don't have enough information on this one either yet, but we're going to bring it into the fold now. So with the same as stock, basically, the indices, the A, the B, and see this resolves itself nicely here in terms of down for 1 here and back for 2. And different indices and different stocks are showing different things with all of these, so I haven't really been able to, you know, nail it down in the correct way. But yeah, taking each one on its individual merits is what I've decided to do. But this case here, this is sort of interesting because from this low here, if you've got a keen eye, we do have 5 waves to this high here, and then 3 back again. Yes, that could be wave 1 and wave 2 here, or it could be an A and a B and then a C wave here, because there would also be 5 waves in this little move here that may or may not be finished in terms of 1 and 2, nice strong 3rd wave here. Maybe there's a 4th and a 5th to go here. But I think that we, you know, once this sort of matures just a little bit more, we'll pull it apart, because we can build a bullish case for this, but we would need to see 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Then we know that we'd get an A and a B and a C. Then because we got 5 here, we'd get 5 over here, and we'd know we're kind of where we are, just sort of edging sort of off the low in that case. But if we only get 3 waves up here, then we've got a problem here. Then we know that we've got a bearish pattern. So this should resolve itself in a session or two, and that will also be helpful as well. So I have mentioned this before, and we said that we expect it to be a low in place here, and let's just see where it goes. Let's see if it sits on the 100. Let's see if it gives us 5 waves up or 3 waves up, and then that will be a telling story, because this is the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here, and so far we've got a nice ABC correction here, so we could quite easily have 5 waves down through here. It doesn't justify it in terms of what I'm looking at here. We just don't have that extra sort of wave coming into play. It's all sort of finished here, so I would expect 5 waves here, but first of all, I want to see them, so that's what we'll be looking for this week in terms of a market drifting higher, because we do have long equity trades, and we are at a junction with the indices where they can turn and fail. So we might have to get the big sword out and give them a quick chop, all those long ones. But I don't particularly want to get rid of them until I've got the evidence to do so, because the trend could still continue to the upside. So it's a bit of a tricky one, and we just need to take a deep breath and hold tight and see what we come up with, because we just have to do the right thing. That's as simple as that. Take the next logical step. All right, well, look, that's about it. So still positive for a little while. We've got I think we've got some announcements this week on Wednesday or Thursday that could change trend as well. I'll have to just double check on that. Maybe even the Trump thing as well could cause a bit of a spike in the market too, which will be later this week too, to see what states fall over to his side as well. Alrighty, cheers.